What up, what up? Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. My name is Salvador Briggman. On this channel, we talk about crowdfunding. We try to demystify this and pull this apart for you so you can understand it. You can see sort of the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain in terms of how these campaigns actually get funding. And I do this obviously with the channel, also with my podcast, also with my books, also with my blog, all these kind of things. I really try to help you when it comes to launching a new campaign. So that way you can reach your full potential as a creator, as an inventor, as an entrepreneur, as a founder, as an artist, right? However you want to identify as a person. There's so many cool ways you can use crowdfunding for, I'd say, unlocking the power of the crowd, but also to get funding, to build a tribe, to get product validation, to really get feedback as well on the thing that you're trying to do or trying to make. So today, I want to get into some of the rules when it comes to Indiegogo. So Indiegogo, as you know, is a global crowdfunding platform and one of the biggest platforms out there when it comes to rewards-based crowdfunding. I talk about them a lot on my channel. I want to get into the rules that you should know about before going live with a campaign. So that way you can actually color in the lines, make sure you're not breaking any of those rules, and that way you don't have any issues when it comes to launching your projects. We're getting into that today. Hope you enjoy it, and it's coming up right after this. All right, man, welcome back to the channel. Again, my name is Sal, and I am so excited to do this video. This is like one of the most boring topics that are out there when it comes to rules, but I'm trying to make it a little bit more interesting for you. So rules are things that are so important because you could have the greatest project in the world. You can be getting tons of funding, but if you break a major rule of the platform, you might get shut down. You might have your campaign be put on pause. It might be investigated, right? So you wanna make sure that you're at least steering clear. Rules are there for a reason as well, usually based on the history of the particular platform. So this is something I'm going to go through today. I've been in this industry since 2012. I have a great book out there, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, as well as other content on my blog, crowdcrush.com, my podcast, etc. Today, I really want to get into these nitty-gritty when it comes to the rules, so that way you can be informed going into the launch of your Indiegogo campaign. So the first rules come around the actual campaign, and then we'll talk a bit about the terms of service and also the community and also the perks or the rewards which you are offering on Indiegogo. So first of all, what are the types of campaigns that are allowed on Indiegogo? So I'm going to read this here. I also probably have a version that I end up editing and putting on the screen here so you guys can see. So first of all, what is allowed on Indiegogo? You can have for-profit campaigns on Indiegogo, campaigns benefiting nonprofit organizations or nonprofit beneficiaries, campaigns for products, anything within community projects. Community projects are usually more kind of like charity-based, a little bit more of like social cause kinds of projects, educational campaigns in the tech and innovation category. So the biggest takeaway here is that they are much more liberal in a large sense, if you will, more flexible in the types of campaigns that they allow on the Indiegogo platform as compared to their competitor, Kickstarter.com. So they're a little bit more liberal, like I said, in that way, and allowing many different types of projects, and also some projects that a little bit more are difficult, I'd say, launching on Kickstarter, like a nonprofit kind of a campaign or more of a cause-related one. They tend to allow those much more on Indiegogo. Assuming that your campaign fits into one of those very broad categories, you can obviously launch a campaign on Indiegogo. You can also look more about some of the requirements when it comes to creators and their platform, and also when it comes to the different areas of the world. You can look through that on your own time. I think the more important one is to actually go through some of the perks and rewards. So the easier way to think about this are, what can you not offer, right, as a reward? So one, can I offer a raffle or a lottery? So campaign owners are not allowed to offer any form of lottery or gambling. For example, a perk offering a raffle ticket to win a car is not allowed with your campaign, or anything that's like a chance or a lottery. All that kind of stuff is prohibited. However, you can run a referral contest on Indiegogo. So referral contest is basically using their dashboard or using their platform to allow other people to refer other backers to your campaign. So if you want to do something like that, that is completely fine and legitimate in the rules when it comes to Indiegogo. However, you can't do a raffle. You can't basically raffle off a car or something like that, which would be kind of dope, but yeah, just unfortunately goes against the rules when it comes to Indiegogo. The next is that you cannot allow people to contribute money and then get equity in return. So this would basically be shares in their venture or a return on the investment. Campaign creators are not allowed to offer any form of security, and that means that campaign owners are not allowed to offer perks such as notes, stocks, treasury, security features, security-based swaps, bonds, or debentures. Now, this is actually something that you can do on their kind of partnership. Now, Indiegogo has partnered with Start Engine. I have a video out there on that. If you're watching this at a future point in time, you can also use other regulation crowdfunding websites like WeFunder to be able to do this, or Republic.co. Indiegogo. So I have a lot of other content out there on equity crowdfunding. This is basically a new way, if through a securities exemption, that you can use regulation crowdfunding to actually raise investment capital from the crowd and from non-accredited investors. So typically in the past, it was only from accredited investors where you can actually raise capital as a startup company. So you can now do that using regulation crowdfunding. You can do general solicitation, which just means like you can broadcast this thing if you want to all over the web and raise easily hundreds of thousands of dollars when it comes to your startup company. So if you want to learn more about that, you can always book a one-on-one coaching call with me down below as well when it comes to getting more clarity on Indiegogo's rules, what you should do from a strategic standpoint, going into a campaign, raising funds, getting backers, all of that, giving you feedback every step of the way, that kind of stuff. You can book a one-on-one coaching call with me down below. But unfortunately, using Indiegogo's platform as it is, you cannot raise money and unfortunately for investment capital. The next is related to weapons, okay? So can I offer weapons or related items? Campaign owners are not allowed to offer any weapons, ammunition, and related accessories. This means campaign owners may not offer perks such as firearms, knives, brass knuckles, which are kind of cool, but I guess you can't offer that. Other weapons. Related accessories include no holsters, scopes, storage cases, no gunpowder, guys. You cannot offer gunpowder, unfortunately. Safety enhancing perks such as bulletproof vests, which is actually kind of cool as well. Riot gear are acceptable. So if you have something that's related to safety, so for example, like I said, bulletproof vests or riot gear, that is acceptable, but you couldn't offer or sell gunpowder on Indiegogo, which is hilarious. I don't know why I find that so funny. So memberships to firing ranges and time ranges are also acceptable. I've coached actually a bunch of different people who are trying to do like fire range kind of stuff, which is really interesting. But yeah, so basically, if you're offering weapons, you can't do that. If you're doing more safety or prevention kind of stuff, you can do that on Indiegogo. And just like a membership to an event or membership to a range, that is something you could do, and that'd be fine within the legalities, at least, of their rules here on Indiegogo. I'm just going to go through two more here, and then we'll get into the next phase when it comes to this video. So you can't offer vaporizers or pipes. So campaign owners are not allowed to offer any kind of controlled substances such as CBD products or drug paraphernalia. They can't offer perks such as hookah pipes, grinders, vaporizers, pipes, bongs, marijuana, cigarette paper, syringes, prescription drugs, any devices that are intended to use primarily to enhance or facilitate the consumption of controlled substances. So you guys, you can't sell marijuana on Indiegogo. I'm sorry about that. If you do live in a state where that is legal, that's great. You know, I'm here in Miami, Florida, where unfortunately right now that is not legal, but this is something you can't do on Indiegogo. So if you do fall into one of those categories, you can't do that. You're probably gonna have to get around that in another way or selling online in a different fashion. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. And finally, and you guys, I get so many creative projects, and I've actually had people who literally want to start airlines using crowdfunding. So this is actually a really important one in my opinion. So this is, can I offer my contributors a plane ticket to come visit me and my project? So this says it depends. You're more than welcome to offer perks that involve flights provided by authorized airlines. However, campaign owners are not permitted to launch an airline or issue tickets that have not been authorized by the U.S. Department of Transportation. So for example, you guys basically have to, if you're having some kind of a flight or some kind of transportation method, it has to be sanctioned in that way by an authorized airline, particularly when you're doing flights. You can't start your own airline, unfortunately, using this particular platform. And if you are doing tickets, it has to be authorized by the U.S. Department of Transportation in that way. So I want to get into next a little bit more of some of the platform guidelines and some of the terms that you should be aware of, but at least from a perk standpoint, that at least can be clear. And if you made it to this point and you're doing fine, you may then be able to launch a campaign on Indiegogo. All right, so and also if you want to learn more about some of those perks, you can look at the community guidelines section when it comes to Indiegogo, which has a much more comprehensive list of basically all the things that they fly with and all the things that there's not okay when it comes to a particular platform. So what I want to talk about in terms of these rules are things that you should be aware of when it comes to being a campaign creator on their platform. Okay, so the first one is that you must make a good faith effort in order to fulfill your perks. So you must make a good faith effort to fulfill your perks in association with your campaign in the time frame that you communicate to contributors and prioritize fulfillment of those perks. So basically, if you're not communicating with your backers, if you're not making a good faith effort in order to fulfill your perks, this is a huge no-no in the eyes of Indiegogo. You want to make sure that you abide by this rule. And also, I think it's in general pretty good when it comes to the overall crowdfunding community. The other thing when it comes to being responsive, so please be responsive when it comes to having all comments and messages being responded to, updates, any kind of questions, that kind of stuff. Indiegogo makes to verify the ability or to fulfill. If you're unresponsive or if a dispute arises between you and your backers, we may provide your name, legal mailing address, and email address to your contributors, or in instances where the law requires it. So this is basically saying that if you are not the one who's being responsive and there is a massive issue when it comes to your contributors, Indiegogo reserves the right to provide your information to them so that they may or may not take legal action. That's something you should be aware of as a campaign creator. The next has to do with updates. So please be substantive and quality with updates at least once a month to contributors. Immediately notify contributors if there are obstacles or delays. In addition, if you receive the contributions from your campaign but are unable to deliver perks, please issue refunds to contributors. Abide by all particular rules and laws. Be truthful and transparent. Campaign team members should be willing, ready, and able to substantiate claims that your campaign makes, including but not limited to product stages, feature capabilities, stage of product development, timelines for delivery with verifiable evidence if requested. And if you're unable to uphold your claims, Indiegogo may terminate your account, withhold funds, provide your name, mailing address, and email address, or take other actions to enforce the right under this agreement and applicable law. Basically, what that means, in my opinion of that, or my interpretation of that, is that one, you should definitely be providing updates regularly to your backers, like I said, on probably a once per month basis at least, letting them know about the stage of development. The other is don't be deceptive, right? Don't just take these funds and not deliver on your rewards or perks. Really explain yourself, let people know, don't just leave them in the dark or something like that. I think that's really a good way to just stay clear and make sure that you're being good when it comes to having a good faith effort to fulfill your perks and rewards. And lastly, the other thing here, being aware of potentially legal ramifications, particularly if you're not doing and following these kinds of examples. So really this is for people that are just kind of bad actors, I would say, and making sure that they don't just like take the funds and run or something like that, or just completely leave everyone in the dark. Really, communication is your friend here. Being transparent is your friend, and it also creates a good record of your behavior when it comes to being on the actual Indiegogo platform. So I know that this information is so incredibly interesting, right? But I do think it's important for you to be aware of some of these things as a creator. That's really my job and my goal. And also, if this is something you want to discuss more going into a coaching call, you can always book a coaching call with me down below. But I do want to go through a couple of more in this video, and then we can kind of cap this off. So when it comes to this, this is really around basically the running of a campaign and things that you should just be cognizant of, things that should be on your radar. So the first is that what happens if you fail to provide these updates? So we did talk about some of those ramifications, but according to Indiegogo, under their community guidelines, failure to send monthly updates can result in one, your campaigns we may hold funds raised on your campaign, two, increase in your refund requests and chargebacks from contributors, negative impact on your business and perceived trustworthiness, negative impact on your ability to run another Indiegogo campaign, and also report you to third-party collection agency to recover contributions dispersed to you if you fail to fulfill your campaign perks. So make sure you do updates on at least a monthly basis, or that list of things I just read could come into effect. And lastly, if you are in the in-demand section of a campaign, you do have to fulfill your perks within 3 months of the estimated shipping date provided to contributors at the time of contribution. We may remove campaigns from in-demand program that are not able to fulfill perks within the expected time frame. And we may also provide proof that perks have been fulfilled, and decision about fulfillment are made within their sole discretion. So there's a lot of information, obviously, when it comes to that particular community policy there. But just to recap one or two things here. One is that if you are in fulfilling your stages when it comes to being in demand, making sure you're doing that within at least a 3-month time frame is very important. Making sure you're doing updates as well is very important. Being transparent, all these different things are important to Indiegogo. And I do think that over time, they're going to continue to see this being something that's part of their platform, particularly because of their new Indiegogo Trust Proven Program badge, which they are giving to particular campaign creators. So I think we're just trying to really crack down on some of the not so great bad actor engagements and activity that they've seen in the past. And they're really trying to make a much more trustworthy, much more safe crowdfunding community for other people that are out there. So these are some of the rules that you should be aware of. And again, I think this is a very boring topic, but also very important, something that you should be aware of before going live with a campaign. So you want to talk about some of the more interesting topics going into a particular project when it comes to getting backers, getting funding, blowing past your fundraising goal, really having a river of traffic on your campaign. If you want to get into what you need to do from a preparation standpoint before you go live, if you want to talk about what you need to do when it comes to managing your campaign while you are live, some of the things that you just don't know know about. There's that saying that sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. If you really want to get to the crux of that and really demystify this whole process, you can go and book a one-on-one coaching call with me down below. These are intensive coaching sessions. I really try to bring my A game, and literally every single student that I've had at the end of a call is always like, wow, like that was so much value, Sal. Like I'm so glad that I did that. It's really a great investment when it comes to doing your campaign. So if you're ready to do that, go check out the link down below and you can see more when it comes to my coaching option there, and you can get the call scheduled ASAP. Just fill out a little bit of information on that particular form to let me know about what your expectations are, what you're trying to do. Tell me more about your project, tell me more about you, and we can get that call scheduled. But thank you so much for tuning in to this video. Go check out some of the other videos I get out there. Come subscribe to the channel, give me a like if you like this video, and I will see you next time.